Hold on. Hold on. Right. I feel like a Bond villain. Hold on. Just wait. Oh, Jesus. Just wait. I will. Just talk amongst yourselves when I do this. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy Andy Dow Day. That was worth it. Finally, the day has arrived. An esteemed gentleman such as yourself has surely deserved through all these years a day to mark their awesomeness. And finally, that day is today. Thanks to your good friend Brian Ferguson and a mutual friend, a childhood friend of mine as well. He's put all this together. All of this. He didn't build this house. What Brian has done is he's wanted to do a special day for your good self to show how much you mean to all of us. Now, initially I thought what I was going to do for it was I was going to take the old Hi8 videotapes from when we were kids and transfer them through the medium of digital so that I could then post videos from when we were kids, you know, like the wee short films we used to make, and just us jumping around and being fools. But I forgot that Brian broke my video camera. With his sheer acting prowess, the camera could not withstand those acting chops. So because of that, I've decided instead to make a video, and it's going to be my top 5 Andy Dow moments. That's right, the top 5. Not a top 10. Although there could be a top 10, there could be a top 20, but there's going to be a top 5, and I wonder if you concur with it. So let's get started, shall we? I always wanted to host the top 40, and this kind of feels like it. Only it's the top 5 Andy Dow moments. So, number 5 has to be, it's a collection of moments, so I'm kind of cheating. It's Halloween. I love Halloween. Anyone who knows me knows I love Halloween. Ghostbusters. Creep show on the wall behind me. That aside, I love Halloween. And do you know what? You loved Halloween as well. So, we used to go out trick-or-treating, or guysing, as they say. And it was great. I used to love doing that. You were into it just as much as I was, and for people who don't know me, because we don't really stay in touch very often now, but we were friends from when we were like 3 years old right up until probably about 19, 20. We still are friends. I'm not saying we're not friends now, just saying, you know, we drifted apart a little bit, but we had that really tight bond, and Halloween was a time where we would go out, and quite often we would be like a duo of some kind. So I remember we went as Batman and Robin. We went as the Ghostbusters. You were Ray Stantz. I was Peter Venkman. And I remember the proton pack your dad made. It was awesome. It didn't work. It wasn't a real proton pack, but it was awesome. I remember that. And we also went as the Frog Brothers from the Lost Boys, and I remember that because we used to go vampire hunting when we were children, which we probably shouldn't admit to, but we had like wooden stakes and holy water and dog tags and all sorts, and we were wearing like combats, like army combats and things like that. But yeah, I loved Halloween, so that would definitely be my number 5 Andy Dow moment. I should have like a video, like an image here. It just says Andy Dow's moments. Alan's deep bath. But yeah, the Halloweens were awesome, and that would definitely be up there for me in my moments of Andy Dow. This is sounding more homoerotic the more I do it. My number 4 on this top 5 Andy Dow moments list would have to be when we joined Scottish Youth Theatre, and we'd have our good friend Brian Ferguson to thank for that. I always remember going to the Scottish Youth Theatre. I loved it. It was a great experience, and the 3 of us had a lot of fun there. You two carried on with it. I stopped for some reason. I don't know why, but and you've both done great things since, and I'm very proud of you both. But what I remember the most from Scottish Youth Theatre is I think I helped write a little sketch, and it was about uh, two Gestapo officers interrogating someone. It doesn't sound very funny, but I always remember the three of us doing that in front of the class for the first time, and everybody rolling around laughing, and I always remember that being a great moment. And it's kind of one of those moments that made me think, maybe I could write, maybe I could. And I always remember that, and it was great fun. And I remember at the end of it, Andy, you did a bunch of ad-libbing that was hilarious. But that's what you used to always do. You were able to always throw things in and always make people laugh. So anyway, that's my top 4 moment. Would be when we were in Scottish Youth Theatre. Great days. Now my number 3 moment is actually a bad moment, which, but it's kind of funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but it is something that I think about from time to time. And I think about, because as much as we had a great friendship growing up, we also had some explosive arguments. And the one argument that I remember the most was when I think we were about 9 or 10, and we'd swapped bikes for a little while. I remember you had this like racer bike, which I could never get the hang of, but you had this racer bike, and I had a BMX, and we swapped bikes. So I've had a shot at your bike, probably fallen off it a million times, and you've been up doing, as you always did, wheelies and doing whatever you were doing. And you then appeared in my garden. I was there waiting with your racer bike. I was there just waiting on a beautiful summer's day, just like, okay, I would like my bike back, one that I actually know how to ride. And you just walked into my garden, and I was like, Andy, where's my bike? Where your Sans bike? Where's my BMX? And you just went, I just get tired of it, so I've left it at the top of the hill. You just left it there. You just left it there. And I cannot tell you the rage that I felt inside. And then I did something that I'm not proud of. I was a child. I picked up a stick and I chased you into the street. Now we know I'm like a pacifist. Doesn't sound like a very sort of pacifist thing to do. Had I caught you, I wouldn't have used the stick. But I was angry and I was a child. Anyway, you ran out onto the road and you get knocked over by a car, which was horrifying at the time. Absolutely horrifying. But you were okay. You were fine. But what I do remember about this was that when the car hit you and you fell on the road, your shoe, the force of the impact, your shoe went flying up in the air about 20, 30 feet, and you landed. And let's say no broken bones, you were absolutely fine. But the shoe then came down and scalped you in the head. And that may be evil that I'm even laughing about that, but obviously if you've been hurt, I wouldn't be laughing, but it was kind of funny, and for some reason I always remember that as one of those arguments. Anyway, that's my top 3 moment. My top 2 moment, if I can even say moment, that was top two moment. I don't know what that is. So my top 2 Andy Dow moment has to be, well, it's a couple actually. It's when we went on holiday. We went on a couple of holidays together when we were kids. Actually, we went on 3. And the first one, we went to Spain with your family. We were on a bus for 32 hours. Can you remember this? And we went there, and we also had a friend, Gareth. He was there with his family. And it was like a sort of a caravan park in northern Italy in a place called Esterti. And we also went on like a day trip to Barcelona and things like that. But it was great. It was like my first time abroad, and I remember the whole thing just being so much fun. I think that was the time I discovered Jimi Hendrix, which was a big thing for me because you had the Jimi Hendrix CD, his greatest hits, and that was really when I was like seriously started listening to him. I always remember that holiday, and particularly, and I suppose this is self-promotion, it's not really, I just remember how funny you found it, that I remember the aerobies you used to get, like frisbees, but there's like a hole in the middle, and me, you and Gareth's cousin were we were playing with it out in the caravan park, and I have absolutely no finesse. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm clumsy as I'm Clark Kent without the superpowers. But I decided to throw this aerobie as hard as I could. So I threw it, and the wind must have caught it, and it went up over a fence. And there was a guy coming along on his bike, coming along his bike on the other side of the fence, and the aerobie landed on his head. You couldn't have made that shot if you'd tried. And I remember how funny you and Gareth found it. But I think the main holiday memory I probably have is when we went down to Porthleven down in Cornwall. We were there for 2 weeks. We had like practically like our own flat, and I think it's probably the first time that either of us had ever experienced anything like that. And we just had an amazing time. And I remember, you were always so adventurous. I was adventurous in spirit, I suppose, but I was always too scared to get hurt. But you never were. You were always just jumping from tree to tree, and I'm making you sound like Tarzan, but you're always doing things like that. And when we went round the coast, me, you, and my two cousins, Becca and Gemma, and we walked round the coast, which we've been told was really dangerous, but we went there anyway, and we started climbing over these rocks at the bottom of this cliffside, and we got to a cave, and we were looking in the cave and all. It was really exciting. And then we decided to go back. So we went to go back, and the tide had come in, and we were completely stranded. And I thought we were going to drown. Thankfully, we actually managed to climb up the side. We went around, we found a bit up the cliffside that we could actually get up, and we managed to get up back up onto the top. But I did have images of them sending out like a helicopter or something like that to try and save us. These stupid boys from Glasgow. But Porthleven, that was a great holiday for us. But the last time we went on holiday together was when we were about 18, and or maybe even slightly younger, maybe we were 17, and we went to St Andrews with my family. And I just remember we stayed up one night, and my dad had this toasting game where we were toasting famous people, like William Shatner, and then we would take a drink. The two of us got blitzed. Dad went to his bed, and then for some reason, me and you decided, do you know what's a good idea? Do you know what's a really good idea? Running into the sea in the middle of the night. That's a great idea. I think that's really good. And do you know what's even better? The waves are really high. Yeah, that's really good. So there was us in the middle of the night, drunk, 17-year-olds running into the sea with the waves crashing against us, and I don't know why. But that always sticks in my mind. Good days. My number one memory is very hard to choose because there's a whole bunch of them. We used to do like a video night on, when we were kids. We would go down to the video shop, and we would, I used to love the video shop down in Castlemilk Road. We'd go down there, and they'd have all the film posters and the cardboard cutouts of like Arnie and Terminator 2 and things like that. And I always remember we'd get Weird and Wonderful movies from there, which was kind of like almost a film education for me. The funniest memory I have of that is when me and you got obsessed by 3D. Now, bear in mind, people, this isn't like stereoscopic 3D now. This is like the old red and green 3D glasses. And we had like I think I had got these like postcards that were all in 3D, and the glasses came with them. And we were like, wouldn't it be great to watch 3D movies? So there's us, like 9 or 10 years old, going down to this video shop. And we walked in, and I remember there was a few people, like a few guys behind the counter, and we said, "Do you have any 3D films?" And they all busted laughing, and they laughed us out the shop. And I remember this really big heavy guy behind the counter saying, maybe in the 1950s, but not now. Little guys, now go away, and yeah, we got laughed out of there. But that's a good memory for me. But I think, just us hanging about together as kids was great. You were always trying to be like Marty McFly and like hanging off the back of cars while you were on a skateboard or on your bike. Or just I remember once being up the tree outside your house, and the tractor was cutting the grass in the field, and it came underneath the tree, and you decided to stand on the tractor while it was doing it from the tree. But and do you remember the time when you woke up, you phoned me, and you were like, Michael, there's a car in my back garden, and someone had like stolen a car. It was a Mini, I think. Went on a joyride with it, and they'd taken it up the field, and they just parked it in your back garden. And me and you, and I don't know who else was there. I don't know if Stuart was there, or would it have been Mackie or someone like that. I can't remember who else was there, but we were like playing in this car, and just pretending like it was, I don't know, like we were hanging out the cars, shooting at invisible police officers. No, that doesn't sound good. Baddies. We were shooting at baddies. And then the police actually turned up and told us to get out of the car. And the people turned up who owned the car, and it turned out that the car was actually fine, so we could actually have driven it. I think that was one of the most disappointing moments of my life. This really is turning into the top 20 now. Do you remember when your brother used to, for your birthday, used to do like the Warhammer fantasy roleplay games for us? And this is true geekdom, but I loved it, man. I loved it. He was so good at that. And we used to play all those games. We used to always really look forward to them. And also remember just sleepovers and just hanging about, and just in general we had a great childhood, I think, and it was great fun being friends. There was always hijinks, there was always adventure happening. My fondest Andy Dow memory though is a simple one. I think we were about 4 or 5 years old, sitting in the front garden at my mum and dad's, and we would have all our little Matchbox cars, and we were playing with them, and we had like all the red stones next to the path, and we would split them apart and make roads, and we build garages and things like that. And I just always remember us doing that, and I think that's my fondest Andy Dow memory. There you go. Anyway, Andy, I hope you have a fantastic Andy Dow day, and I hope you thank Brian for this as well. I think he's went to a good bit of trouble organising everyone to try and do something nice on the 8th of December for you. I hope you have a great time. I hope life is treating you good. And what is it they say at the end of Stand By Me? You never have friends like you do when you're 12. And I think in many ways that's absolutely true. And for that reason, you'll always be one of my best mates. That's all I wanted to say. Have a great day. Have a great Christmas. And maybe we'll meet up at some point in the future. Bye for now. Oh, I need to have a better sign off than that. Back off, man. I'm a scientist. Busting makes me feel good. Live long and prosper. See, I can do that. Roads, where we going, we don't need